Hi, y'all, and welcome to Spill the Spirituality, where curiosity gets a microphone and certainty takes a coffee break. Wherever you are on the belief spectrum, whether you're a skeptic, a believer, a seeker, I don't know, and I'm fine with that mostly, this is your weekly space to explore the big, weird, wonderful questions that make us human.
We're talking about those moments you can't quite explain, the connections you feel but you can't describe, and the sense that maybe there's something more. Not dogma and no pressure.
I'm Trey Hall. I'm a pastor. I'm a fabulous homosexual and 16 years sober.
And I'm Jaz and Trey. I'm an international speaker, a care system survivor, mum and fellow traveller on this wild, slightly mystical and totally unscripted journey. And our guest today is a science teacher turned comedian. For 25 years now, she's been writing gags about religion, gender and identity, which is right in our ballpark. And you may have seen her on The Christmas Apprentice. It's only Shazia Mirza.
Hi.
What made the change in career from teacher to comedian?
I mean, I haven't taught for a long time. I did teach full-time as a science teacher in Tower Hamlets, Dagenham and Enfield. I also did supply teaching. I also did short-term contracts. I taught always in inner city comprehensive schools in London, which were very rough. I taught in schools that were special measures. I had many social problems, surrounded by council estates, and the school was in the middle of that. And it's where I got my best material.
What was Miss Mirza like? What were you like in the classroom as a teacher?
Well, when you're 21 and you just go straight into teaching, they don't teach you how to teach. So I did my degrees. I did a degree in biochemistry and then a PGCE, and it's all academic. I know the periodic table. I know all about chemical reactions and everything, but that doesn't tell you how to teach. You've got all the knowledge, but you don't have the skills. So I kind of learnt those on the job. And as I was doing it, I didn't realise it at the time, I was doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Controlling the class, trying to keep them interested, teaching them for an hour at a time, keeping them entertained, keeping them facing in the right direction. When I started stand-up, I just thought, I've been doing this for 10, 12 years. I'm in teaching.
Did the kids think you were funny?
See, at the time, I never thought I'd be a comedian. So
Sure.
I wasn't thinking about comedy or being a comedian. I was just trying to be a good teacher at the time. And I never tried to be funny with them.
Okay.
I always tried to engage them and give them, good science lessons and stuff. But I never tried to be funny.
Are you a naturally funny person?
A lot of the stuff that I've written is true, so it's happened to me. So like teaching has been things that have happened in the classroom, and how much I hated the kids and how much they hated me, and things like that. I mean, I told this, and the thing is, because I've written it from my point of view, and I know it's true, and I know it happened. I know it happened to me. It's come from my place of truth, and that's what comedy is really. Comedy is the truth, and I think Richard Pryor always used to say that, if you tell the truth, it will always be funny, because people connect with the truth and they know, oh my God, that happened to me, or you couldn't make that up. Why would somebody do that? So I know it's come from a place of truth. So when I'm telling it, I'm totally engaged with that material, because I know I don't have to put it on. I don't have to make it up. I don't have to think, oh God, let me get into the zone where I tell this story, because I know how I felt when that happened, because I was there, and it's my truth, so I'm telling it.
Your persona when you deliver it is my particular favourite type of comedy, where you say something very seriously and it's hilarious, but then you push in, and it's almost like finding this comedy persona. Is it you on stage?
It is me. It's me on stage. It's what I think. If I'm delivering some material, that is what I think, or that's how I feel, or that has happened to me. Even and I know some people think in comedy that, or people are looking to go into comedy, they think, how this funny thing happened to me, how can I take that on stage and tell it to people? Oh, I'm funny down the pub. I'm funny down the pub with my friends. My friends think I'm hilarious. And I told them this story last week and everybody laughed in the pub. They just said to me, oh my God, you should do stand-up. Oh my God, you're so funny. And then they get on stage and they darn their ass and they're not funny
totally
at all
different,
in front of millions of people. They're just not funny. Because stand-up comedy is an art. It's a craft. It's not everybody from the pub can go and build a career in stand-up on the stage, even though they think they can.
When did you know that you were funny?
I never knew that. I don't know that.
You don't know that?
I don't know that. I've never known that.
Okay.
It's not something
What do
I
you
think
what do you
about.
mean? You don't even consider that as you don't accept the premise of that question. No. So someone is not funny or not. It's just
I never wake up and think I'm funny.
But you see the funny in things, especially when you're talking about like being Muslim, your family.
People say, oh, comedy is tragedy plus time. So when tragic things happen or bad things happen, you don't see the funny in that at the time. It's not funny. But years later, you might see the funny in that. So a lot of things, like I haven't taught for a long time, but when I look back now and I think about things, I've written new material recently about things that happened when I was teaching 10 years ago, because I can see the funny in that now. Or like I did a thing recently where I talked about, I was teaching, I was 21 or 22. I wasn't that into it. And I went to Ibiza for half term for the holidays. And I went with my friends, and all my friends, they were just out partying all night, every night. And I was meant to come back to England on the Sunday, but the flight got delayed. And I was meant to be at school on the Monday. So I had to go from Ibiza straight to the school on the Monday morning.
Okay.
And I said, I can't check in my bag because I haven't got time to wait at the luggage belt. And I have to just rush straight to get from the airport to the school. I said to them at check-in, I need to take this on board with me, this bag, which had all my clothes in, normal clothes.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, okay then. When I got on, there was no space in the bins, in the overhead luggage place. And so the man on board said, oh, it's okay. I'll make sure that I'll look after your bag here. Anyway, he lost the bag. And I was still in these clubbing clothes that I had worn out the night before to space in Ibiza, where there were black PVC leather trousers and a PVC leather top. And I had to go from the airport to the school dressed like this. And I just thought, there is no way I can teach science all day in black PVC leather trousers and a PVC top, which had no sleeves and was like a crop top. I just thought, I can't teach. So I had to go to the PE department, to the lost property box. And I had to get out any clothes that the kids had left behind
manky old
in
jumpers.
The lost property box. And I actually ended up teaching that day dressed like a 9-year-old boy because I had the leftovers of this PE kit, which were like these hot pants from this young boy, a PE top, which said James on it. And I actually had to go in and teach like that. And I thought, what is worse, me in the PVC or me dressed as a paedophile in a 9-year-old boy's outfit? I've turned this into a routine. Now, people would go, is that true? Is that not true? But I would never stop not tell that because I know, to me, that happened. So that's true.
What's true about, what's true about it for you? Like, obviously,
that happened.
Factually, it happened.
Yeah.
Is there anything,
and
what makes that interesting for you to bring on stage?
Ofsted were in that week and and they were inspecting everybody and in the science department. And I was dressed as a 9-year-old boy in a PE outfit when Ofsted were in. And they actually said I was a good teacher, but my professional decor was not that great. Like how I conducted myself as a teacher was not that great. In the end, I thought, actually, to be a good teacher, you need life experience.
So you've just offered us that bit, which is great. It's great material. And I could see why it works in lots of contexts. I really am interested in, you say you're you up on the stage. You're you here in this studio talking to us and people listening. And you don't think of yourself as a funny person or not. That's not a category you like. Do you identify as a stand-up comedian? I when I left teaching, I held on to my NUT card for about 10 years while I was doing comedy, my National Union of Teachers card. So I was still a member of the NUT because I always thought
I'm going to go back to being a teacher. When I was growing up in Birmingham as a Muslim girl in an Asian family, all the comedians that we saw on TV, were white men. Like my mum used to like Larry Grayson, John Inman, Kenny Everett, all the gay ones. She used to love all the gay ones. She didn't realise they were gay. She used to go, oh my God, these men are so funny. And they were all gay men, all white men, like Frankie Howard, Larry Grayson, really camp, John Inman.
Kenneth Williams.
And she loved them. And those men were on our TV all the time. We always had comedy on in the house.
Okay.
Les Dawson, the two Ronnies, Heidi High, French and Saunders, the Liver Birds, George and Mildred, Butterflies with Wendy Craig. In the 70s and 80s, that kind of comedy, also Porridge.
The Good Life.
All those. There was a lot of sitcoms on TV at that time when I was growing up. There was always comedy on TV, Fawlty Towers. And we always watched it. And my mum loved it, always had it on, even though those people didn't look like me. And I never thought that I would do that because nobody that looked like me was doing it. And so I just thought, I just love comedy. I just love watching it. But I never planned to do that because I never saw myself that I could do that.
There's no route.
What's your mom think?
That's what I was going to say. What do your parents think? I mean, first of all, teaching, but then to
they loved. I mean, the thing is, they really loved when they came from Pakistan to Birmingham. They loved being British and they loved to be British. So they were obsessed with Charles and Di. My mum thought she was Diana. Like every Pakistani woman thinks she's Diana because they all say, oh my God, we had an arranged marriage. We had an arranged marriage just like Charles and Di. And the husband never really loved me because the husband loved somebody else. And so he was in love with somebody else. But we had an arranged marriage. I was a virgin and he was an older man. And that's how we got married. And I am Di and he is Charles. And you'd go to any Asian woman's house, they're all telling the same story. I'm Diana. No, I'm Diana. No, I'm Diana. Everybody was like Diana. And they all felt they were Princess Diana. Oh, she suffered so much. I'm suffering. I'm suffering.
I'm suffering.
My husband, he doesn't love me. And I have to produce a spare and a spare and a spare. They all want a boy. They want a son. And every Asian woman thinks that she was Princess Diana and the husband was Charles. So all Asians were obsessed with the royal family. When people talk about like integration and all immigrants, they don't want to integrate or they don't want to be British or they hate Britain. I just really don't understand this at all because that is just not my experience. And how I grew up in Britain in the 80s, when all the first influx of immigrants came in from India, Pakistan, Uganda, they were desperate to be British. My dad was called Mohammed, but he always called himself Bob. He abbreviated it to Bob. And my mum, she was called Sarwat, but she called herself Sharon. And all the neighbours who were white used to call them Bob and Sharon. And they never questioned that they were Mohammed and Sarwat. They never said, what's your real name? Nothing like that. They accepted them as they were. And they loved being British. They loved the royal family. All the crockery in our house had Charles and Diana plates on it. Said 1981.
When the tea towel.
The tea towel, the cups, the saucers.
For open hearts and open minds, this is Hope and Anchor. It's the show that works in the space between the known and the unknown. And there's always a moment when we ask our guests to sum up their spirituality. Shazia, on the seesaw between faithless and totally devout, where are you sitting?
I'd say I was devout.
Devout. And what is that? Tell us more about that.
Well, I don't know what spirituality means because for me, I practice my religion.
Yeah.
I'm Muslim, so I don't hear many Muslims say I'm spiritual.
Right.
I hear Muslims say, yes, I'm religious. I'm a devout Muslim. I'm a devout Muslim. No, I'm a moderate Muslim. I'm a non-practicing Muslim.
Okay.
I never hear Muslims say, I'm spiritual.
But not, you never hear Muslims say, I'm spiritual but not religious.
So it's religious got a different meaning because it is.
Well, what does that
what's
mean
the
for you?
difference? Yeah.
So I would never say I'm spiritual.
Okay.
I would never say I'm a spiritual person.
What does that, why not? What does that mean? What does the word mean for you that you would say I'm not that?
Because I'm very specific about what I believe.
Okay.
So I practice Islam. So for me, I worship Allah and the Prophet, peace be upon him. And that is clear cut in Islam.
Does the word spirituality sound a bit woo-woo?
To me, spirituality, see, I know friends, I've got friends who say they're spiritual and they don't follow any particular religion, but they believe themselves to be spiritual. Whereas I follow a religion. So I don't say spiritual because I say I'm a practicing Muslim.
It's so interesting because I'm a devout Christian, so I follow Christianity. And I would say I'm spiritual, but you're saying, oh, I'm religious, but not spiritual.
Yeah. It's the specificity of it.
The religion.
Because Islam is a specific religion.
Yeah.
As is Christianity. I mean, I went to a Roman Catholic primary school called Our Lady of Fatima, where I was the only brown girl in the whole school. But my parents sent me there because I was so naughty as a child and they felt that this school had really good discipline, which it did. If you were naughty, they'd hit you with a slipper. But I loved it.
Back in the 80s.
But I loved it. I loved the school because we used to sing hymns every Friday, and we used to go for mass and have Holy Communion. But I couldn't have the wine because it wasn't halal, so I had to have double the dose of bread. So when they had the wafers that they'd put on your tongue, he would always give me 2 because I missed out on the wine. And I'm like, I actually want the wine. But,
so you were taking Mass. You were taking the
all
Eucharist
the way.
as a practicing Muslim.
In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost.
Fascinating.
Wow.
So you were actually practicing 2 different religions.
We used to do hymns and everything.
Fascinating.
And I was Mary Magdalene in the school play. And I was fully engrossed in that. And I loved it.
Okay.
Because it wasn't, in many Islam and Christianity, there's much overlap in the things that we believe. Like we believe in Jesus as our prophet. Yeah. And so
Islam does. Whereas Christianity sees them as the incarnate God. But there is overlap. Yeah.
So in the Quran, Jesus is Isa, who is seen as one of our prophets. So we do believe in Jesus. And there are many aspects to Christianity that we also believe in. You know, you have Lent, we have Ramadan, and
y'all do it. Y'all are a little more. Y'all are more hardcore than we are.
Exciting and
Christians. This is one of the jokes I tell. Christians are like, "Oh, I have to give up chocolate." I was like, "The Muslims are fasting all day long."
Exactly. Yeah.
But when sun sets, we do
you
eat.
fast. You break that fast. Iftar, baby.
Yeah. And
them.
And you know, I'm still friends with all my friends at the Roman Catholic primary school that I went to school with. This is like 35 years ago, and we're still friends because even though I'm Muslim and they were Roman Catholic, we were bonded by faith, which is a belief in something greater than ourselves. And since we are monotheistic religions, we both believe there's only one God. So I never questioned what they believe and they never questioned what I believe. We just agreed that we believed in something and it was the same thing.
So the faith is the overlap between that's really interesting. So like you're saying these are religions that are different, they have some shared stuff, but the overlap is this sense that you and your friends have a faith in one God.
This was hilarious that the head teacher there, they were all very Roman Catholic, and they always used to say to us, there is a heaven and a hell. And the way you're behaving, you're going to be in purgatory. And then,
tell people what purgatory is.
And then they'd go, right, so Shazia, you're going to be in purgatory for what? You're stealing people's lunch boxes. You're going to be in purgatory. Purgatory is the waiting room between heaven and hell. So when you die, if you have not been a brilliant human and been really good and not sinned, then you're definitely going to heaven. Or if you have been like Jack the Ripper and you've been awful, and you are definitely going to hell. If you are one of these people that, you know what, You sinned. Did you, were you remorseful? Did you say you're sorry? Did you go to confession? All this. You know what? Maybe you're on the fence there. Maybe God hasn't decided what he's going to do with you yet. You go into purgatory. You're in the waiting room. Well, Muslims have the same thing. We call it barzakh, which is when people die, they go to barzakh, where that is the waiting room before the day of judgment, where Allah will tell you where you will go, heaven or hell. So we have the same thing. So when I grew up with purgatory. And I knew then, when I grew up and I started getting more and more into becoming a practicing Muslim, I just thought, I know this before. I learned it at Roman Catholic primary school. This is our version of purgatory.
Yeah.
And everything was basically what I'd learned as a child at Roman Catholic primary school, but it was just the Muslim version.
There is what you're talking about. I love this, by the way. And this is one of the things I love about this podcast is that we have people on across, I say, religious difference, and we don't try to pretend that we're the same, like we acknowledge there's differences between Buddhist and Christianity and paganism and Islam. And those differences are meaningful differences, right? And so that's what I hear you saying, Shazia, like this is a particular religious tradition that you follow. There's something really beautiful about saying, yes, there's overlap and there's a faith you share with your sisters in Catholicism or Christianity. There's a common faith in God, but there is real difference. And I love that. Of course there is. Of course there's difference. It's like saying, there's really no difference between me, Jazz, and you because, we're both human. Well, actually, there's real difference between what it's like to be me and you. And that's a good thing. So my question for you is, and I ask this of everybody in some ways, like, what do you love about being a devout Muslim?
I love the fact that there is huge and massive importance on the afterlife. Is that this life is fleeting, it's temporary, and it's a test. And the real life, which Roman Catholics also believe, is everlasting life.
Christians in
Christians,
general,
is that you will have in the next life is everlasting life, which is forever, which is eternal, and that depends on what you do in this life. And what you do in this world is a test, and you've got to pass that test to get into the afterlife, which is the life you want to be in. It's the place you want to be. You want to try and get into Jannat, which is heaven, and it would be everlasting life. And we don't see death as a bad thing. It's a gateway, it's a doorway to everlasting life. So when people die, we all have to die. So when people say to me, I say to people, sometimes, what's going to happen to you when you die? They go, oh, that's it. That's it. I just go. I said, what do you mean? I have friends who are atheists. They go, that's it, the end. And that makes no sense to me. I cannot understand how it can just be the end. Because in order to make sense of this life, I have to believe in the afterlife.
What do you mean? Like, because it's so shit?
This life, there are so many questions about this life, oh yeah, why are people dying? Why are children dying in Palestine? They're such innocent children. Why are they dying? Why did this random woman get murdered? Why do so many terrible things happen to this person? Why is there a war? Why is there a famine? Why is this and that? A lot of things don't make sense. And you always often hear people say, oh, if there was a God, then that wouldn't happen. Why would there be children starving then in Palestine being treated like that? If there was a God, he'd stop this from happening. You hear people say that all the time. And there are so many unanswered questions about this world. We don't ask to be here. We're just here. And we're born, and that's it. And we live through this life, which is often really difficult. For a lot of people, they never have happiness in this life.
That's right.
And a lot of things don't make sense. In order to make sense of this life, I believe in the afterlife. For me, what it says in the Quran about the afterlife, about what's going to happen to you when you die, it helps me to make sense of this life.
Right.
That all this that you're going through, and if you survive this and you are a good person, if you help other people, if you do this, you're going to end up in the afterlife, which is everlasting life, where you will never have these problems, and it will make sense to you that what you went through here in this world, in this life.
There's a lot in that about, you said it makes sense. in the form of acceptance. And when you were talking about school, talking about being able to be in a completely different environment, Roman Catholic primary school, which is it's very different to kind of an Asian Muslim family, but find this common ground.
Yeah.
It's like inclusion before inclusion was a thing, because in the 80s it was all about multiculturalism, was eating up each other's food, and that was how you did it. So it's like you created this incredible acceptance without knowing, and then you've just talked then about navigating this life and the next life that you believe is available. How does that impact you now? Like in comedy, going into comedy as an Asian Muslim female, but I mean, the time that you were making it big and sort of going into that world, you were a pioneer for that. How did you find acceptance in a world that didn't look like you?
Well, obviously, when I was in comedy in that time, I was the only Asian Muslim woman in stand-up, and most people were white men. But it never was a problem for me. I never questioned it. I just thought, this is me, I'm here now, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And I think when you have a faith, or if you feel that you are close to God, because we only believe there's one God, you see that as it's okay. Whatever I go through in my life, it's okay, because I can talk to God about it. There's a reason for this happening. God has put me in this situation. There's a reason for that. God has opened opportunities for me to do this, to become a comedian, which is a strange thing to do. It's an unusual thing to do. There must be a reason for me doing this. And in Islam, when you make du'as, which are prayers, you ask for things, like you do at church, you ask for things for whatever you want, you pray for people. What you always ask for is, Allah, make it easy for me. Make it easy for me. If you want something, make it, okay, I want to be a comedian, make it easy for me. And if things are meant to be for you, they will be made easy for you. And when we say easy, I mean, it has not been easy.
No, I was going to say.
When I say easy, I don't mean easy.
I mean, it's not been easy. Comedy has never been easy. Even in all the years I've been doing it, it's still not easy. It's still difficult. I still get difficult crowds. Sometimes jokes don't work. Sometimes people are hostile. People are offended. This is the new thing now. Everyone's offended now. Yeah. But I just walk on stage and people are offended, So, and so it's never been easy. But a big thing about Islam is making dua, which is, the
prayers,
which is also what Christians, Roman Catholics do, is you make prayers at the end of Mass. You ask for what you want. You pray for sick people. You pray for the dying. You pray for the hungry. It's the same in Islam. When we make duas and we say, Allah, make it easy for me. And the fact that if you're still in it, and you're still working, and you're still earning money, and you're still successful, and you're still getting opportunities, then He has made it easy for you. Because you're still in it. Because I know people I started stand-up with, and of all the people in my writing group, I'm the only one that's a comedian. Nobody else is doing it anymore, because it was too hard.
Do you think of your comedy as helping people find God?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
They might, but I don't.
That's not your intention.
No. An intention is very important in Islam.
Okay.
It's very important in Islam is your intention to do things. Yeah. Because sometimes you make intentions and you don't actually do the thing, but you intended to do it.
Yeah.
And that is really important. So before you fast, you make a prayer and you say, I intend to fast tomorrow in the month of Ramadan. Maybe something happens, you get sick, you are not able to fast for whatever reason, but you get rewarded for the intention.
That is so, can I just say, here's a place of difference. In the gospel, in the story of Jesus, there's a story he tells about two brothers. And one brother says to his father, when the father says, sons, I want you to go out and fix the field, one brother says, I will, I have an intention. And the other brother says, no, I won't do it, Dad. And the dad is upset that the kid won't do it. But the kid who says he will do it, the one with the intention, doesn't do it. And the kid that said, no, I won't do it, I don't have an intention, ends up doing it. And then Jesus says, which of these inherits the kingdom of God, basically? And it's the kid who actually does it, regardless of the intention. So there's a difference. It's what you do, not just what you think you should do.
But in both cases, isn't it that...
But you do get double the reward if you do it.
Because you get the reward for the intention.
Because you made the intention and then you followed it through.
Okay.
But if you made an intention and you didn't do the thing, you still get rewarded for having the intention.
Right. So would those brothers end up on the same level, do you think? Would one of them be in Bursa?
The one that had the intention to do it would get rewarded for the intention, and the one that did it would get the reward for actually doing it. But it might, on the scales of balance, it might equal out.
Okay. Jazz, I cut in on you. Come on.
No, because in that story, isn't the guy who says he's going to do it a bit of a no mark? Because he's like, yeah, I can't be bothered.
Did you get this up The Chosen?
No, they haven't got to that bit yet. But no, from what I remember, and this is me at primary school, it was like, he said he was going to do it, but he just said it to shut his dad up, and then he went back into his room and listened to his Adamant records or something.
I think that's an interpretation, but that's a good one. You don't know.
Because that's the thing. If you accidentally end up doing something, is that the same as when you really say, yeah, I'm going to do it, as a lie?
So, but the thing is, it's like people who say, I'm sorry. People that really mean it and say, I'm sorry, that is worth more and is more genuine, and you know it, than people who are forced to apologise. Oh, yeah. You know, when MPs do something wrong and they come out and they go, I apologise. Well, then I'm sorry. They're not really sorry. They're just doing it because they have to say they're sorry. So it's like when I'm on stage and people are offended sometimes, that's never my intention.
What do people get offended at?
I could say something and people get offended. But you know the intention. Like you knew Bernard Manning's intention.
Oh, yeah.
When he went on stage, his intention was to offend and humiliate people of colour and women and people with disabilities. That came from a bad place. Yeah. And you knew that. That's why he wasn't liked. But sometimes people go on stage and it's not from a bad place. Yeah. So that's why the intention is always important.
That's so lovely. It's a lovely way of saying it.
I say I've spent 50 years in a brown skin suit. I can tell when two people say the same thing, like you're not from here. I can tell when it's racism and when it's not.
And somebody genuinely wants to know.
Yeah, it's a genuine question.
Where are you from? You know,
but
you can see. I can
tell. But that's why I struggle with like people policing things too much. Because if you say you can't say that, like I was in a restaurant with my friend Taz, who's white. Both got two kids. I've got two brown ones. She's got two white ones. We sit there, the waitress comes over at the end and I say, oh, we're going to pay for our own bills. And she says, which of the children are yours? And I go, the brown ones. And she says, you can't say that. And I said, no, you can't say that. But they are and that's what we do at the end of a party, because I hang around with a lot of white people, case in point, Trey. At the end of a party, I'll go, right, all the brown people, let's go. And people are like, you can't say it. It's like, but I am rounding up all of the brown people because they're all my people. So for me, I'm like, I'm just...
Why couldn't you say that?
Well, I don't know, but that's the whole thing. It's like,
why couldn't anybody say that? Why couldn't I say you're brown?
That's what I mean, because people are saying
so offended.
The intention could be this. But if the intention isn't that...
then you feel that.
Well, when you watch me on Celebrity The Apprentice, You're Fired, the Christmas special, you will see exactly what you just described there. That's what happened to me. When we had to make a gingerbread man,
right,
and we had to make it a bit different, so they had all the stuff there, and I picked garam masala and turmeric. I thought that'd be great, that'd be different.
That'd be a nice one.
I know these spices.
Yeah, this
is my thing. And then one of the guys I'm working with, oh, we can't have that. That's going to be too spicy. Who's going to have a gingerbread man with garam masala and turmeric in it? And I said, but that's so representative of Britain because people love those curry flavours. So anyway, somebody's asking me about it afterwards and I go, oh, well, I wanted to put turmeric in, but the white people wouldn't let me. And that's what exactly what they said. You can't say that.
Exactly.
You can't say that. That's what exactly. Shazia, you can't say that. I said, but that's what happened. But that's why you shouldn't police people, because the intention is not malicious. It's actually just what happened.
Shazia Mirza, it has been a delight to have you with us talking about religion and making us laugh. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You can read more about Shazia at shazia-mirza.com, or she's at the Shazia Mirza on Insta. Spill the Spirituality is a project of the Methodist Church in Britain. Our producers are John Ryan and Rachel Matthews. I'm Trey Hall.
And I'm Jaz and Parfar. Until next time, peace.